Hello and welcome to Spring Commander Forge Lines Forever. An open palms with Aleg and Maitz. Maitz is always in the Cybern, going first land, getting a PJ in 4 mexes. Aleg is in his usual Seraphim, first land as well, nothing else queued. Bit of a rating discrepancy here. Maitz more than 200 points on Aleg. We'll see how they match up. Maitz was hardcore farming all my points for a couple days, so he can thank me later now that he has all these juicy points. Maybe Aleg will win some back from him. Wonder if the reclaim is gonna get in the way of this factory. So Aleg not moving to the hydro. Maitz is. Aleg going second air. Getting the mexes quite late here in his base. And he knows the reclaim is in the way. So he gets rid of it with the ACU, or with the engineer, before the ACU throws it down. Hydra's just finishing, and Aleg's is not complete. What else do we have? A couple labs. Maitz, he is partial to a lab or two. I think labs have really come back in use a lot. I remember a year ago or more, for the longest time, no one would make labs really, or very rarely. But you see them a shit ton now, to be honest. Most games you'll see labs actually, or many at least. Trying to block with the factory, but the factory is too big, so he can't put it down. The lab is too close already, and he gets a couple of kills. One was a scout. Celine went down, and an engineer. They have 2 factories here, one in the starting location. Meanwhile, Aleg a bit behind. Only has his 2 factories, so certainly looking a bit better for Maitz now, I would say. He has an interceptor out, and his scout just flew past Aleg's bomber, but he wasn't looking at the time, so he may just lose his engineer. No dodge, and that's one nice kill. His expansion delayed significantly. We have some dodging happening. Will he dodge in time? Oh no, Seraphim bombers, probably the toughest to dodge, I would say. Well, no, it definitely is the toughest to dodge. I think it has slightly bigger AoE than the Aeon, or at least the same. Not sure exactly. Does more damage than the Aeon bomber. 50 more damage, 200 damage on the Aeon bomber, 250 on the Seraphim. But Aeon can stun T1 and T2 units. So simple base configuration. We have a couple engineers having factories, one engineer back here building power, so it's gonna have to get the hydras. If he only stays with just the one engineer on the power. And a very poor vision for Aleg, no radars whatsoever, and similarly for Maitz. We don't have any air scouts, we don't have any land scouts, just a couple. This lab gets another kill. This is one from the beginning of the game. This, not the one over here. He sent a second one in this direction, and only now has he been afforded the opportunity to kill something, and he has. This other engineer is going to be out of reach though. And the lab looks like it's gonna die. Oh, manages to escape another kill. See, this is the problem with vision. Now Aleg has a radar up, but it's not in the best spot. A lot of empty space here that he needs to account for. So now rushing towards this hydrocarbon, running past the mexes even to go make it, and a bomber trying to clear up the raids. So Maitz is quite good at finding engineers. It is a very valuable skill to be able to run your mantis into enemy engineers. And this is a nice attack here, so see, he's sort of gathered a small group of mantis, and that makes the attack a lot more robust. He's just sending in 1 and 2 tanks in different locations. It's a lot easier actually to stop those attacks and react to them, as long as you have vision. But if a larger group appears, then you actually have less time to react, because you have to react with more units in the same amount of time. So it turns out you have less time to react, really. Or you have a bigger threat to react to in the same amount of time, more like. So no hydrocarbon engineer here goes down. So no expansion now. And this is about 5 or 6 mantis that they all died, but delayed expansion quite significantly. 6 mexes and a hydrocarbon not going to get built anytime soon. And Maitz, meanwhile, is just clearing up all of his mexes. He has lost some expanding engineers, but has also rescued some. So you have these 2 here. This guy here at the back needs to throw up that factory pretty quick. Slightly faster to the back than Aleg, who seemed to send out his engineers quite late. Aleg, though, significantly has 700 more reclaim. Oh, the bomber coming for this engineer. So he's not going to deny any mexes, but there's not going to be a PD here, so there's an opportunity now for some raiding. Maitz has also sent his commander to the bottom. So let's see, does Aleg know that? I feel like Aleg wouldn't know that. Aleg also with quite a bit of mass in the bank. Nice raid here. He actually killed the engineer here, and he's going to get this one as well. So that's pretty good. Small investment there of tanks. And trying to raid over here, but the problem with 2 tanks is they take a while to kill mexes. So Maitz actually sent his comp to the bottom side. Often you see players send them to the opposite sides. One goes up and one goes down. But if you go to the same side, it's very good to appear here at the same time as your opponent might be trying that ACU push, and just greet him with your commander and some reinforcements, and you can just get the kill there and then. Good raiding still from Aleg. If he focuses the engineer, that would be very nice. Also, it is very useful actually to have an engineer. And oh my god, he lost the engineer. That's bad. 5 kills on that tank. It's very useful to actually be reclaiming tanks in that situation with the engineer. He adds a lot of, suppose you could call it DPS. The engineer died, but he had already started the factory. So the Maitz are going to finish it off, and he's going to make some engineers out of this to get all of this juicy reclaim. So let's see, we have Maitz colonizing the bottom. See all the reclaim up here. This is largely ignored by people, but you should grab it. Invest in a factory to spam engineers and try and reclaim as much of that as you can. Aleg seems to have a lot less tanks. We have 41. versus 84. Holy shit. Maitz with way, way, way more tanks. So he needs to use them. Aleg, instead of tanks, has juicy T2 mexes. He's actually reclaimed his air factory here. I'm not sure why. But we have a raid on the right. Aleg losing air control to this raid. And this raid is actually going to be stopped. Maybe one Mantis will survive. Oh, they're all low. Some reclaim. Now there's one Mantis left. And one Mantis can't really do much, but we have a whole other army now pushing in, which may be able to kill the entire expansion. It's PD not gonna do much to help. In middle, this is not really a great place for a PD because you can just have an arty here, kill it easily, and you can't really stop that from happening. What does Maitz see? Does he have vision? He doesn't really know where he's going. He's just kind of poking and prodding. Up here though, he's getting a lot of damage done. On the bottom side, maybe he needs to chill for a little bit. You can see he can do raiding here on these mexes. Also, you can make arties, which works maybe slightly better even than tanks. But the mexes are going down over here. You can see 2, 4, 6 mexes gonna die. And he does see the T2 mexes, he's aware. And so, making some of his own, probably should assist a little bit and move to T2. We have T2 just finished, in fact. Aleg, you have to expect, is gonna be moving to T2 already. He is 70% there. Generally, players just people ask, how do I know when to move to T2? It's sort of an intuitive thing. For most players, they just sort of feel like, yeah, I should be going to T2 right now. And what the intuition is based on is really just, how's the game going? Do I feel like I have enough time to make T2 without losing to this guy's T1 stuff? That's basically the equation. Do I have time? And generally you get that time sooner or later, and most players sort of know when that is. Most good players. In 1v1 at least. It's quite different in team games. This looks defended. Don't think we'll see too many losses here. Maitz is kind of pressing all over the map. This army can't really do much because of these PDs, and the engineers are there to build even more PDs. We have no Medusa. Actually, have no Medusa at all for Maitz, except this guy and this guy. And now, just recycling some factories that he doesn't need. Moving to T2, so you can see when he moves to T2, gets a T2 engineer out, gets that TMD, moves on to the T2 PGen. We have a lot of engineers for Aleg reclaiming the map. And that's sort of a big deal for him. 6.4k, 6.6k reclaim. 4k reclaim for Maitz. And we have the gun for both players. Maitz is moving on to stealth. Aleg sticking with the gun. Gonna try and make use of that. You see, the position is actually, although there's lots of attacks happening, lot of smaller attacks, not huge commitments. So the position is actually pretty static. Both players have their map control, although Maitz has had this for longer. He got his back base a bit faster. Maitz also has had more of mid than Aleg, but Aleg, instead of this, has had earlier T2 mexes. And also, he's got a lot more reclaim from the map. So Maitz has also left quite a bit of reclaim here. This is a good field to be reclaiming. This in mid, certainly useful. And there's all these trees and rocks everywhere, which you can see Aleg is kind of getting. Another raid at the back. So Aleg just doing a better job of reclaiming the map. You can see there's not many engineers around for Maitz. So all these trees and rocks are still here, except at the back base, which has been reclaimed quite well. Now you have quite a few rhinos out, which should be plenty to deal with some T1 spam. Rhinos are really good on this map, really good against T1 in general, because they do 50 damage per shot and they just don't miss generally, especially at open palms. It's beautifully flat surface, like a snooker table. It's really where the rhinos excel, is on the snooker table. Ilshavo coming out. We have 3 support factories, and there's quite a few Ilshis out already, so 8 Ilshis. Although he got to T2 later, his production is solid. And actually, Maitz is just moving to T3. Oh, bit of a risk here to move to T3 so fast. But Cybern, it's generally a good idea to get those loyalists. The loyalists aren't as insanely good against Ilshavo as some other T2 tanks like the Pillar or even the Rhino, or God forbid the Obsidian or Blaze. But they're still very, very good. So let's see. Aleg continuing to eco, making one at the back, making one here, and Maitz similarly ecoing pretty hard actually. Ooh, maybe over ecoing. He has a lot of mass in the bank right now. Perhaps I think what we have, maybe it's a lack of engineers. How many do we have? Less than 100. We have like 80 engineers. Aleg probably has far more, I'd say like 150 or something. No, 120. So that's still quite a bit more, almost 50% more. Now Aleg still only has the gun. I would kind of expect some second upgrade, T2, Nano, something. He's content with just the gun upgrade. Doesn't actually have his T2 gen yet, it seems, so that... Or does he? Oh, he does have one already, yeah. Of course. More support factories, so it looks like Aleg's sticky on T2 a bit longer. He's now going to T3. Probably guessing that there's T3 coming from Maitz, and Maitz now... Oh no, Maitz has so much mass. So much mass. Now getting this support factory upgrade, spamming T2 engineers out of this support factory to try and get more build power so he can actually spend his mass. And also making TMD and PD. And upgrading some mexes. We have another support factory here. So, Aleg chooses this time to make a push. There's loyalists in the area. Loyalists are absolutely vicious versus commanders. But this push here looks pretty good. There's a lot of arty to take out the PDs. But now as Aleg pushes down here, the loyalists move in behind to take out the units that are trying to support him. Which is a good call to avoid that overcharge while there's only a small number of units. On the right side, Aleg is making a lot of progress. There are quite a few rhinos here, but if he doesn't keep microing, he's going to die to the Zooies and also powerful Ilshis. Maitz and Aleg commanders shooting at each other. An overcharge took out 2 Ilshevo. And Maitz is feeling the pressure. How many loyalists do we have? We have 9 loyalists. This should be enough actually, perhaps, to take out Aleg. An overcharge comes in, takes out the first. Second one goes down, and a third one to an overcharge. And Maitz actually calls GG. I think he could kill Aleg with the loyalists there. Well, interesting time to GG. When you have loyalists there ready to try and kill your opponent, but he had certainly, if he didn't kill the AC there, certainly he was dead. So you can see that, I think we saw the problem quite clearly, just the transition. You can see that it's very important, the tech transitions from T1 to T2 and T2 to T3, that you actually effectively are able to spend all your mass into units. So Aleg or Maitz didn't have enough build power in terms of factories and unit building stuff, or even say tech engineers to build defenses, and so he kind of had to throw his mass into economy, and had too much economy, and died when all these Ilshevo came knocking, and lost both expansions here. So the importance of tech transitions, it can easily win or lose you the game. So well played from Aleg. Also definitely important to know all the reclaim he got. You can see his map is pretty clean, except back here. So well played, Aleg and Maitz. Thanks for watching. See you next time.